My name is Vida, and I'm education lead at MetricsDAO. Really excited to kick off this webinar today with Bitquery. And Bitquery is a set of software products that parse, index, and store blockchain data in a unified way. Today with us, we have Gaurav, who is the head of growth at Bitquery. So Gaurav is going to walk us through the product. He is going to showcase what are the exciting features that you as an analyst can utilize and how you can kick off this journey with this exciting product. So before we start, I'd like to give you a quick introduction uh, of MetricsDAO. So, MetricsDAO essentially is a Web3 analytics community. So, we run a bunch of exciting sessions with various data providers. We also have analytics challenges that all of you can get involved in and even start earning. If you don't have the analytics skills yet, or want to improve your skills, we also offer educational programs such as Web3 Analytics 101 and Web3 Analytics 201 that you can take part in. Okay, enough about MetricsDAO. If you want to join the community, go over to our Discord server. That will be the best way to connect with us. And now I will give it over to Gaurav, who is the head of growth at Bitquery, to introduce us to this exciting software.
Thank you, Vedha. Thank you. Hello, guys. My name is Gaurav, and I had growth at Bitquery. Bitquery is a blockchain data infrastructure company. We provide blockchain data APIs and other ways to access blockchain data to many companies. Today, I'm going to show like what Bitquery is, what we try to build, what we provide to our customers, users, and what you actually do with Bitquery. One of the best thing about Bitquery is like Bitquery currently support 40 plus chains. So I think it's the highest number if any product which support a lot of chains, and we build pretty easy interface on top of it, which is graphical API, which is our retail product, and people can access data through Bitquery very easily and using our graphical ID. There are tons of examples there. You can actually visualize data also. I'll show this into into this session how to use Bitquery, how to actually use it for building analytics, multi-chain analytics, a chain, like you can have a chain level analytics and you have a DApp level analytics, token level analytics, address level analytics like NFTs and sort of those things. And like these are few links. I mean, like we have a Bitquery IDE, which is graphical IDE, where you can actually create, test, share graphical queries. Then we have Explorer, which we have built Explorer. I'll show you all the screens slowly. Our Explorer is sort of a demo for APIs. So you check those Explorer to find out the data, and actually it's very easy to get started with our products. You can find a lot of analytics there, and one of the most interesting part is there is like you can actually follow money on chain using very simple tools on our Explorer. We recently launched a streaming APIs which allow you to access real-time blockchain data. This is one of the major platform we are developing and still in currently in development, where the goal is like enable real-time access to blockchain data, and not just access. You can actually have transformed data, so you can actually subscribe to the specific changes on blockchain on a chain level, DApp level, token level, anything basically. Cool. Can I share my screen and show things? This is our IDE, which is to create application. I would like to show my screen and maybe show it to directly from there.
Absolutely. Go ahead and share your screen.
Cool. Okay, my screen is visible, correct?
Yes, it is visible, though very blurry. I do have to say, like it's really hard to view what's in on the screen and what is that you're trying to show.
Is it okay? All this screen is also blurry.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately.
Okay. Um, Maybe then, do you have an alternative how to make it better? Maybe I disconnect and connect with a different internet. That will help.
Yeah, so it looks like your internet connection is quite low. So if you could maybe connect to a different internet or maybe turn off your camera, then maybe that could help.
Yes. Let me try. Let me turn off my camera. One second. Mhm. One second. Now is it better?
Oh, absolutely. Now we can see it much more clearly. Thank you so much.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. So
Just
let,
would be
let
expand the presentation as well so that we can view
yeah.
it. Thank you.
I'll quickly jump from this presentation to different screens. So basically, I'll show you our ID. For example, this is our graphical ID where you can actually create, test, explore queries. For example, you see explore button. If you first come this side, you just need to create account, nothing else. So you just create account. You can directly write a query, or you can just explore into existing queries. There are like more than 4,000 queries here. Anybody can create queries and just simply share it. For example, let's say let's say I want to know how many Bitcoin blocks are there till now. For example, it's simple query. There are like this many blocks. You can simply save it for others. Let me show you something more interesting. Let's say I want to have a yearly access to blocks on Bitcoin. So these are like different years, how many blocks are there, and you can actually visualize this data. For example, like this. So this ID is also help you to query data and visualize it at the same time. So you see that is a number of blocks on a yearly basis on Bitcoin blockchain, and you can actually just simply change queries pretty easily to go for different chains. For example, let's say if you want to see Litecoin, for example, you see these many blocks on Litecoin. Let's say Doge, similar. So it's pretty easy, and eventually you can just write a simple query. And for example, for many people who do not understand GraphQL is pretty easy. It's similar to SQL, but it's more easy in terms of reading. We have this builder. You can see this builder where you can just click and create queries. For example, like this. Let's do the same thing. For example, you can use this explorer, this builder, which many people use who do not understand GraphQL initially, but it makes it easy. For example, but one of the best way to get start is our own explorer. This is multi-chain explorer where we have almost all the chain we support. If you want to see all the chains we support, you can just go into under your account and you can simply check system status where you can see the number of chains supported and their what's going on with them basically. And for example, let's say let me go one by one and let's talk about specific APIs. For example, let's say if you are looking for token related analytics, you want to know transfers related analytics, trade related analytics, who's a sender, receiver, recent details about tokens, even token holders. You can you can use our APIs, and you can also use our explorer basically. For example, if you want to know like token transfers, for example, over time, you can check it. This is a query. This is a simple query which might looks overwhelming to you to build it now, but it's for example, let's say if you want to get started with it, so you can use it through Explorer. For example, let's open Explorer. For example, you search for a specific token. For example, if I just check any token, let's check peep token. It recently pretty hyped. So you can simply search any token address here, select blockchain accordingly, like Ethereum, BSC, anything, and then you can simply see the stats here. You see small get API button here. For example, this is get API button. This will open API which is getting this data. So this way, when you're getting started, you don't need to write the GraphQL. You just simply search data on Explorer and open this get API button and see what's the API is getting data and change accordingly. So let's say if you want to see transfers related stats, for example, this is recent daily peep token transfers. You see how many tokens are getting transfers over time, and you can, for example, let's open it. And you can actually visualize it here also. You can change the date also. Let's say this is for 7 days. You want it for, let's say, more dates. For example, let's change it. These are more dates basically. So this way you can actually uh, write queries and actually visualize it at the same time. Uh, you can actually change queries based, if you understand more, the once you start using more, you can understand more things, and you can just simply hit control space and you can see what things are available, or you can use builder to see what things are available and write queries accordingly. So you see different types of token related data. For example, what is the largest token transfers? For example, on 23rd there was like 5 billion peeps were transferred in one transaction. um, and these are latest transfers on peep. You see trade related data. For example, if you want to see peeps token trade related data, you see these are the pairs which peeps trading against. For example, and if you want to know which query is the most traded, it's against WETH, and then against USDC. And if you want to see which query is getting this data, you can simply hit this get API. So it's much easy to first find the data and check the API and then play with API basically. So this will help you to research a lot of things. You can see like they are like they are pairs where only one trade against people. Maybe you look into it, what's happening, which exchange it's getting traded. We also show all sort of all this data. You see like it's mostly traded on Uniswap. You see trade amount, like aggregated trade amount, so you can get any type of aggregated data. If you are looking for aggregated data, for example, trade amount, volume, price, or any type of aggregated data, you can use our APIs. It's pretty straightforward. Anybody has any questions till now? No. Okay, cool. um, you see there are at least 11 11 pairs which are yesterday there was 9 currencies where against which peep was traded. So you get these sort of details, and you can get these sort of details against biggest tokens also, like example WETH or USDT, USDC. It's interesting to sometimes to see details like who has most trading volume for a daily basis. For example, it might be interesting to see like what currencies gained most or gained less over a 24 hours time. You can write this sort of APIs using our graphical queries. For example, for tokens, if you want to know like senders and receivers, so like this address is a top sender for a peep token. He sent more than 561 billion peeps. So this is interesting data. Who is the sender? Maybe creator or sort of those things. You see this daily unique peep senders. On 19th there was 8,000. Today it's around 1,400. So you see medium value also. Similarly for receivers, you see similar data. And you see unique receivers, they are just down. You see median transfer amount, it's around 1 billion. Wow. uh, and you see we also have some annotations. These annotations will help you to know more about the addresses. For example, which is this address? For example, this is some, we get these annotations through different sources. We are going to enable more annotations in going time. We are doing internal work, so enable to do, uh, we are like working internally to enable more and more annotations over time. We're going to enable some more data science uh, um, related data products soon. For example, we are working on to understand how address identities or behaviors. You will see more these things on our Explorer basically. So for example, coming token, you see like you see different smart contract related details for a token. Of course, token is a smart contract. Basic details like balance and money ins and out, you can always see it. And you see get API everywhere. So if you just want to see like which API is getting this, do I want to change this API to get certain other data, so you can check it basically. So you can simply explore data in this way. Let's go next. You can also have token holder APIs, so you can actually have like all token holders for a given token. So for example, let me check. For example, this is some Cardano token on Ethereum basically, and you see how many holders, and like these are top 10, but you can get like 100, and like you can get each and every token holder for a given token. um, Similarly, you get all sorts of different data which can be used in analytics, maybe building ranking websites for tokens and tax related things. Let's see more interesting things. So we have a product called CoinPath are a set of APIs which help you to follow money on blockchain. Let me show you with example. So you see this everywhere. Actually, just search anything. For example, if it's a normal address, you see a money flow. If it is a smart contract, you will see a graph, basically navigation. You come here and you see this graph and Sankey images. This is just raw data. So, for example, we build these charts using data to showcase what can be enabled through APIs. But for example, this is the data which is showing this chart. I'll show you. For example, like this. So, for example, if you want to track money, and you can track Ethereum, and you can actually track any other token if you want. So, for example, um, Upbit was an exchange which was hacked to like few years back, and they tweeted out this hacker's address, and you can actually trace how money is flowing pretty easily through this simple UI. It's better than tracking through like explorers. It's very becomes very difficult. Through this, you can actually see what are ongoing address, and you can actually increase the detail level to see more and more addresses, basically more and more transfers. So, and you can go into more depth in terms of where the money actually going. You see all this money is mostly laundered through internal wallet addresses, but you will see some money is going to certain exchanges over a time. For example, yeah. So this is 8 ninth hop. So we are just tracking ninth hop in terms of money transfer. And you see some money is not some, it's like 11,000 Ethereum went to Binance wallet, or wallet which is tagged Binance in our database. So yes, this way it becomes very easy to follow money actually. And this is simple pure data. It's just we built this UI to showcase you this thing, and you can actually build it more different types of APIs, which is might be more interesting to do investigations, compliance related things. So yes, it's one of the more interesting data or APIs or capabilities we enable through our APIs, and you can use it through Explorer to check out how money is flowing from not just the address but also from a smart contract. Any questions till now?
I think we do have one question in the chat. So Farna's asking if there is an option which gives us information about energy consumption in each uh, transactions.
Um, Energy consumptions we can't. I think you can only estimate it. You can have estimation of this based on the hash rate. For example, if you talk about Bitcoin, if you know current hash rate, you can understand how much energy it might consume if you know a specific type of machine block did mine certain blocks. So for example, let's say if you open a Bitcoin, so if you see this block, you need to know two things. One, what type of machine uh, mine this block, and what is current hash rate. So based on that, you can compute how much energy it might have cost. But you can always estimate it, because it's very difficult to estimate, because you don't know which machine is mine this thing. And there might be other orphan blocks which you might not even know that, which got discarded while mining this, and that also energy cost. Okay, cool. So this is, but you can get like fees of how many transactions. You see difficulty here. You see difficulty. Let me show you more things. Okay, you see transactions. These are transactions involved in a certain block. Yes, so you can see all these details. uh, Let me go back. Yes, so yes, this way you can actually track money on chain basically. Once we enable more annotations, maybe it will be more interesting to follow money, and it becomes more interesting when some hack or spam happens, or you want to investigate certain things. Cool. Dexes is one of the most interesting part of blockchains, because Dexes enables huge transactions on blockchains. A lot of transactions happen because of Dexes, and you can dig into Dexes using our APIs. Um, and Explorer also, you can use this Explorer to dig in. Maybe, and if you need more details, you can check an specific API. So for example, you see overall market, Dex market. You see Uniswaps is like king, a lot of volume on Uniswap, and then like very small in like SushiSwap and other protocols. You see this number of trades which happens on Uniswap is way more than anything else. There are a lot of currencies also there in terms of currencies. And remember, this is data for last 1 week. You can change dates here. So yes, how much trade happens, volume happens on Uniswap when it's compared to other exchanges. For example, Uniswap is did around 14 billion, Dodo around 726 million in last 7 days. And you see distribution of this count and volume. Let's say if you want to dig into Uniswap, so for example, from here you can go into Uniswap, and you see just Uniswap related stats basically. So you see like how many trades happening, how many traders active. For example, there are around 40,000 traders on Uniswap, trading around each day. You see like traded currency. There are like 3,000 currencies traded on Uniswap on a daily basis. You see how many smart contracts are actually interacting with Uniswap, not just for trading, for various purpose. So this is, there might be like there might be interesting to actually track MEV bots through our data. You can actually do that. Mm. You see volume related stats, for example. We parse all protocols like Uniswap 1, 2, 3, V1, V2, V3. So you see a lot of volume in V3. These are like recent trades on Uniswap. You see token pairs and like different types of detail. Like these are recent token pairs on Uniswap basically. Number of trades for last 7 days. The peep did a lot of trades. Then there was mostly these are top pairs. Then this some me coin was a coin. Yes. So it's interesting to actually dig into it, and you can actually, we have a very small integration with TradingView. So you can write a simple OHLC query, and this is a simple OHLC query which is open, high, low, close, and you can hit the API to see the data. Let me show you. So this is Saitama and WETH data for a specific time period, and you can actually visualize a trading view here. So this is a trading view chart. You can check trading view chart. You can actually dig pricing data for any token traded on dexes, and you can have a trading view chart to see price analysis for specific tokens. And this is more interesting because now you have access to any token which is traded on dexes, because this type of things might not be available on many places. There are a lot of tools, dex related tools, who enable this. A lot of them use our APIs to showcase this data. For example, this is interesting data like what is a top gainer and loser on and we checked it for uh, like whole Ethereum network, for example, for all the trades. So you see, I'm like, this is the data. You can also check this data into tabular form. So I put it on a tabular form. You can actually change it and add it from here also, from the results. So you see like there are coins which are ballooning like 5,000% in a day. See, more than 5,000%. Like if you see last 24 hours, and this might be interesting data for traders to see which coins are actually going balloon in, like, and maybe started to going up. You can use this API to get these things. Yes, and you can get all sorts of trading related data. Interesting thing to for is, if you want to know any specific token related trades, you can also get it. Let me show you on Explorer. For example, let's say we see WE trades. So yes, as I shown before in token related analytics, you get all token specific trades and pairs and everything also. Okay. We'll go NFT APIs. We recently enabled NFT APIs, and we are in the process of enhancing them in order to enable a lot of things. For example, you can build small NFT. You can have NFT holders, collection related details. You can have transfers, metadata, ownership, all sort of this thing. I think we build a small portfolio application using our own APIs. Yes, I think we build it. We build this small portfolio related. You can build your own portfolio as a developer or as a NFT holder using our APIs, and it's simple, small HTML, and actually show it, maybe put it on a website or something to build your own portfolio. So our NFT APIs, now we recently opened it, so we it has a lot of data already, but we are going to parse all sorts of marketplace, and we are also working on to parsing the trades to enable a lot more details around NFTs. So it's in the process, but you already have access to this sort of data, and you can have like real time nft transfers and all sorts of those things, and you can subscribe to that data. So rather than pulling from our apis or pulling from us, you can have access to continuous access to new thing. And you can actually, these nfts are not on our explorer till now, the new nft, but it will come soon. So we'll enable all sorts of nft related analytics on explorer. Yes, so how to check a specific address and like their balance, inflows, outflows, trades. So everything is available on the Explorer. You can actually have the APIs for everything. So, for example, these are inflows, outflows, simple balance API. These are like address related stats. For example, these are very basic stats which might be interesting to somebody, like total transaction count, did the first transactions, what is the current balance, and sort of those things. Daily transactions, average transactions, call counts, everything is available. You see specific transactions. If you want to know transactions of a address, stats related it, inflows, outflows, smart contract calls. Like these are inflows, outflows, money inflows, outflows. It's very interesting if you want to build a portfolio application or digging into something and see balance history over time. You can also check balance history over time using our apis. It also has, I guess, dextrate. No, this address doesn't have dextrate, but you have money flow for all the addresses like this. Any questions till now?
Yes, we do have a question here in the chat by Patrick, and he asks, what would you say are the main use cases for using BitQuery for individual analysts who are only SQL developers and for those who have dev skills beyond SQL?
Hmm. So the question is like for analytics is the awesome use case for tracking, investigation, very good use case in terms of digging dex related data or trading related data. If you want to if you are a trader or have trading skills, you want to do, it's very good if you want to do overall chain analytics. For example, if you have if you want to do chain level analytics, for example, I want to see transactions, transfers, volume, how many tokens are created, smart contracts are deployed, all this details is available chain level. But you can also have dApp level. um, dApp level you can access dApp level data also, but for dApp level you have to parse events. We already provide events and calls, but you need to have a, for example, let me show you. But you can have dApp level queries. You can build dApp level analytics also by pulling certain data. For example, I'll show you. Yes. So this is like if I want to know latest pairs on on Pancake. So I added his factory address and added the event pair created. When any pairs is getting created, it simply emit this event. And now I can simply use argument APIs, which is running on a smart contract event, to see the data which I'm looking for. So similar way, you can get any smart contract arguments, events, calls, and you can build your analytics around it if you already understand different parts of protocol or smart contracts involved into it. This thing, and there are a lot of other things on Explorer. We are going to open more details. For example, we last time we had like mm, Gini coefficient, Nakamoto index, or all sorts of these matrices. We're going to enable those matrices also. But for now, you can have a good chain level overview, analytics, investigation, trading related data. And you can also have some NFT data. Once we enable more, you will have more. And you can do like yes, and you can do DApp level specific analytics also, if you understand the protocol and understand events, and you can able to pull specific smart contract event or calls or arguments related data. You can build things. You can actually aggregate over arguments to build analytics. Okay, does it answer question? Cool.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for the answer.
Cool. um, Last, I'll go with the smart contract related arguments. For example, you can have I'll show you a smart contract related money flow. This is some smart contract, and you can also see money flow related to it. And you see that it also has like NFT. NFT is also included in NFT related token also included in money flow. You can also actually see the money flows of NFTs. But for specific smart contracts, you see its aggregated data. For example, call counts, internal calls, who is a creator, transaction, unique callers, for example, transaction count. You see these matrices, for example, when uh, how many calls smart contracts gets on a daily basis, how many unique callers are there, internal or external, oh, of course, balance and currency received in and out. One more interesting thing I'll show you. For this are like normal transaction, and you see like we parse methods names by human readable name. And this is pretty interesting thing that we have almost enabled this for all the smart contracts we have, for all the data, if you have the data. Yeah, so you see it's easy to read them. If you understand the smart contract code, it's pretty easy to read them. In the last question, I didn't replied about SQL skills. So yes, so we don't have a SQL interface. We have a graphical interface, but it might it's similar to SQL, but it's a more user friendly. So initially, you takes little time to understand it, but it's similar to SQL. All the things works like SQL, and for getting started, you see this all this get API. So it will help you to understand how API is structured. So I want to see, for example, for this smart contract, this is a distribution of calls by methods basically. So I check this get API, I run this. This is the data, and you see this. I'm just running a smart contract call API. I added these filters, and I put these matrices, basically these outputs. And this becomes easy once you start using this explorer or builder, and have we also have this autocomplete, so it becomes things easy because auto suggestions help you a lot to just complete the APIs. And it's also interesting to do a multi-chain based APIs. For example, if you want to compare trades, transactions, transfers, calls, or anything on a multi-chain level, we have supported all these chains, so it becomes pretty easy. You see smart contract related details, and similarly for events, we also have events parsed, so it's become easy. Inflows, outflows, these are inflows, outflows. So all this data is there, but it doesn't mean that this is the only data we have. This is the data we are showcasing, but we have like 10% data on Explorer. You can build on sorts of data. You can aggregate data from a different point of view. We have built in a way that you can aggregate data from different perspective. uh, so yes, any questions?
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So I have a question. So what would you say is the problem that you're solving in the Web3 analytics space? Why is what BigQuery is doing important?
Yeah, so Bitquery's major major mission is about accessing the data for building applications, but we also enable data for retail to do some sort of analytics. So the majority of the problem we solve is one, to enable better access to data, more meaningful access to data, and enable all sorts of data which might not be available directly. For example, let's say if you're able to see some data through volume level, for example, but you can't do, for example, median or average and sort of those things. So we build this query interface where you can do all sorts of these operations. While doing operations, actually, you can we enable the interface where you can actually do computation while writing the query itself. So in terms of problem solving, the major goal is to make data accessible to everybody, for mostly for building applications, and somebody who's interested in certain data which is not available, and he's doing he want to do queries and sort of those things, and also making it more meaningful, so not just raw data. Over time, BitQuery, so for example, current explorer is more like towards analytics or data points rather than a raw explorer which just shows transactions, sort of those things. And we want to keep this approach in order to enable people to write queries to find more meaningful analytics or data, and maybe share it with others. So yes, does it
Amazing.
answer
Thank
your
you.
question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing. Um, right. And one more question from my end. So I'm wondering what is waiting for BigQuery in the future? Like, can you share some of the exciting developments that you have coming up?
Hmm. One of the we are building on some data science related products. For example, currently we are working on a product called similarity search, which allow you to search similar smart contracts and addresses based on certain things. For example, let's say if you want to know what is the most, can you show me a duplicate of Uniswap? So it can show you a duplicate of Uniswap. Can you show me um, can you show me a smart contract um, with the XYG call or method call or something like that? So it's basically allow you to help search more efficiently, more humanly based search for smart contracts and for specific addresses also. This is one. We'll do address segmentations, which allow you to do some certain. We also building something which allow you to do address segmentation. For example, you want to know addresses who did at least $1 million trade on Uniswap and have at least 3 years old, sort of these things. So you can filter specific addresses. One more interesting product we are working on is real time data accessibility. We This is more about building application, not about analytics. uh, there when people build application set, sometimes real time data becomes pretty crucial for certain use cases. Trading is one of them. It's become pretty crucial to have access to real time data as soon as possible. We are working on that to enable that thing. And also, currently BitQuery transforms data internally. So you all this data which is transformed by BitQuery, but in a soon we will allow other people to tell us how to transform the data, and we'll transform the data and let them access that data which they told us to transform. So this is when we are also working on a product to enable blockchain data access through cloud. So we pushed recently Ethereum historical blockchain data on AWS. We're going to push it on Snowflake and other cloud infrastructure also. So somebody who wants to access directly from there, maybe build some pipelines, data pipelines, and have data analytics tooling already have consuming those pipelines, so they can directly access data to cloud. Yes.
Awesome. Exciting developments coming up for Bitquery. And we will be having actually a workshop with Bitquery in a month. So on the 25th of May, we will be hosting a workshop. So it will be a great opportunity for you to get some hands-on practice on using the tooling. I am sharing right now the link in the chat. So if you want to get some hands-on experience, this will be a great opportunity. So do ensure to sign up to the event. And Gaurav, before we finish, like what would be a good way for people that might have any questions to connect with you?
Yes, we have a Telegram, pretty active Telegram. You can join. It's in the last slide of the PPT. Discord. We have forum. We have website. You can ping us on Twitter, Bitquery_IO. We're pretty active everywhere. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So
Or
we will.
you can simply email us at hello@bitquery.io.
Awesome. So I will be sharing as well this presentation in the Discord server. So if you want to, I get access to the links and all the different things that were shared in the presentation. You will get access to it. And before we finish, is there anything else you'd like to tell us, Gaurav?
I think Bitquery is more about enabling better access to everybody for analytical for analysts out there. uh, we are going to work on certain things where you can actually write queries and figure out the data and maybe build dashboards. But if you have basic understanding of GraphQL, I think you will find BitQuery's data more interesting when it comes over a multi-chain level where you can actually analyze multiple chains and maybe multiple dApps. And one more thing is like annotations, which makes things interesting on a investigation perspective where you actually want to track money on chain for any reason. And sometimes it's interesting to use BitQuery to see where the money is coming from, going have some annotations around it. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Be sure to register to the workshop if you haven't already. As I mentioned, the presentation will be shared in the Discord server. So thank you everyone for attending today. I'm sure you learned a bunch of exciting and new things about BigQuery, and we'll see you in the future sessions. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.